Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So this video took me longer than expected to get out, but at least it's getting out now. I hope everyone's been doing, relatively well with everything that's been going on in the news cycle and everything else. Not too much more of an intro for this video before we dive into it. But as promised, we're getting into Yona of the Dawn Volume 8. And so, without too much more preamble, let's dive into it with chapter 42 all together. And you have a wow, it's like you got a fawn, that's amazing. And you see Yoon just fawning over Jeha, who's caught a little baby deer and brought it back with him. As he goes, the tricky part was carrying it while leaping. And Yona's like, your leg is really impressive, Jeha. And Huck is like, when he suddenly sprang into the eastern sky, I thought he was being gathered up into heaven. And you see him just doing like a Superman jump as he goes, food, lunch. And you have J-Hug going, I'm quite sure it was more graceful than you make it sound, Huck. And he goes, as a child, I used my power to travel throughout the kingdom of Koga. And was it Gija's like, you ran away from the village of the Green Dragon, didn't you? Why did you do that? And J-Haw's like, why? And Gija's like, would you allow yourself... Oh no, that's the J-Haw continuing. Would you allow yourself be kept in chains, bound hand and foot? And he's like, chains? And he goes, there I was, just an innocent, vulnerable, pretty boy. Chained, my pale, supple body was put on display for the curious eyes of the village adults. I spend my days caged and humiliated. And you see him doing this little imagination dunk. As you have Yun going, excuse me, but this group already has a pretty boy. Me. Find your own niche. And Giju's like, huh? Wait, what? I don't understand. Why would the village of the Green Dragon do that? And Huck's just like, don't trust everything he says. Some of that's probably just his own fantasies. And you see J-Ha going, that's been the fate of every green dragon. Giju's like, all of them? Huck's like, I bet I know why. It's like green dragons can't resist the urge to jump, can they? It's their power after all. J-Ha's like, I was like, yeah, alright, yes, that's why. If you leave a green dragon loose, they'll just take off. And goes, anyway, J-Ha, you're so fast that I bet we'll track the yellow dragon down quickly, no matter where he is. I suppose he's the only one we haven't met yet. J-Ha's like, since I've come this far, I'd be interested to see what the yellow dragon looks like. I'll find him for you. Kija's like, no, I'll take care of that. J-Ha's like, no, I'll do it this time. It's like, searching for other dragon warriors is my task. And you have Yun going, while they're figuring that out, I'll start cooking dinner. Thunder Beast, could you build me a fire? Huck's like, sure. And you see that Yona's helping out by bringing a pot with a blade so that Yun can, dress up the deer nicely. And Yona goes, do you suppose there's a village of the Yellow Dragon someplace? And he goes, well, we've got 3 dragons with us, so I'm sure we'll figure something out. Looks like we're having venison tonight. And as he's staring at his reflection in the blade, he goes, Yona, are you okay with seeing raw meat these days? You always used to look away. As he's chopping it up, Yona's like, it's still a little hard for me. And you can see she's kind of getting queasy looking. And she goes, when I lived in the palace, I never thought about the fact that living creatures were dying so that I could eat. Averting my eyes is like refusing to see that this animal had a life. So as she's sitting there, she kind of wipes away all the sweat, like the thing that she's getting queasy. And she kind of prays for the animal, and as she does, you're a girl. And you see this, I assume, blonde-haired, long-haired guy sitting next to her with his dirty, ratty clothing. Hair is a mess, as his stomach is just gurgling as he's praying beside her. And he goes, that's admirable, young lady, but all lives return to the heavens eventually. You put your hands together to show your gratitude, so surely the fawn forgives you. And you see him just drooling out of the side of his mouth as he's trying to tell Yona all of this. And Yona's like, you're drooling, and I can hear your stomach from here. Who the heck are you? And he's like, no one important, just passing by. The drooling is incidental. Yona's like, then wipe your mouth. He goes, that delicious smell was like a beacon. And he goes, the only smell here is raw meat. Yona's like, are you hungry? And he's like, too hungry to describe. As this camera goes, glurgle, 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 glurgle. And you see a sizzle as Yona's setting out some skewers of venison meat over the fire to roast. And Yona's like, wow, looks good. Huck's like, you can eat all you want. He's like, it's hot. And he's like, works for me. It's been a while since we had meat. And Huck's like, but I've got to ask, who's that? And he points to the stranger who's just happily munching away on some skewers. And Yona's like, oh, I think he's a drifter. I'm not really sure. Yona's like, but he was hungry, so I invited him to join us. He's like, here's some water. And she goes to him and gives him a cup. And he's like, thanks. And Yona's like, hey, Gija, do you know anything about the yellow dragon? Like where he lives maybe? Or what he looks like? And you see Yona going, in the legend he was the extremely tough one, right? He's like, maybe his body's covered in hard scales. Maybe he's massive. He's like, hey guys, come eat while it's hot. Are your stomachs upset? And you see all three of the dragons just kind of having a little mini conference. And all of them looking a little bit uncertain. Of course I knew it. And you see Gija going, what do you think? And Jeha's like, pretty sure. And I was like, huh? About what? And he goes, there's no other way to put this. We think that kid who's eating our meat is the yellow dragon. It's like, actually, I'd say we're completely sure of it. And they're all just kind of looking in shock. And then it's like, did someone call Zeno? And you see the blonde kid's finally getting his name. And as Gija's like, oh, look at that. The white, oh no, that's Zeno going, the white dragon, the blue dragon, and the green dragon are all here. Oh my. It's very nice to meet you all. And he bows with the skewers crossed. And you have a what? As everyone starts freaking out. They're like, the yellow dragon? You're the yellow dragon? How are you here? What are you doing at our barbecue party? And Zeno's just like, y'all get worked up easily, huh? Zeno makes sure to sit when he eats. Isn't that great? He's like, oh yes, my name is Zeno. And Yuan's like, what kind of self-introduction is that? And you see Gija going, I knew I could sense the yellow dragon nearby, but he felt so close that I doubted my own senses. Jeha's like, I know the feeling. It's like, didn't you notice that you were getting close to us? And Zeno's like, that's never seemed important. Zeno's just trying to have a relaxing journey. It's like, no need to pay much attention to the other dragons. And Jeha's like all affronted and he goes, oh, you don't pay attention? It's like, and you on the other hand do pay attention. Oh no, that's going, and you on the other hand do pay attention. And Gija's like, are you really just taking a casual journey? And he's like, yep. Like, by yourself? What about your village? It's like, left it ages ago. He's like, you were just wandering about instead of waiting for your master to come for you? And he's like, right, your master. Don't you feel anything when you look at her highness? And Zeno's just like, master? And Gija's all like, you're in the presence of her highness, Princess Yona. She's the master of the four dragons. Maintain a respectful distance. And she's like, Gija, stop exaggerating my importance. And Zeno's like, princess, master. It's like, it'd be wrong not to feel anything. The young lady's so cute. She makes Zeno's heart skip. Gija's like, we already know that. That's not who I meant. It's not what I meant, sorry, not who I meant. He's like, are you saying you didn't feel it? And you see him just kind of recoiling as he's thinking back to dragon warriors, you are now extensions of us. And you see Jeha going, the feeling struck me so intensely, I found myself wanting to let her have her way with me. And Huck's like, I don't recall hearing about this feeling. You see, and you have them all staring at Zeno, who's still unperturbed, going as they go, is he that powerful or just simple-minded? Who the heck is this guy? And Yona goes, but if he left his village and has been wandering around alone, I guess. It's like, what are you wondering? And you see Yona going, I suppose convincing you to join us won't be easy. I've been looking for the 4 dragon warriors and hoping they'd lend me their strength. And he's like, would you like to? And he goes, sure, without a moment's hesitation. And Yona's just like, huh? It's like, it makes no difference to Zeno. He travels wherever he wants. He doesn't have a destination in mind and isn't doing anything else. Besides, that food was tasty. Repaying people for food is Zeno's hobby. And Yun's like, I think you mean policy. And you see, so it's a plan then, as he shakes hands with Yun. He's like, let's shake. Like, Zeno's looking forward to more delicious food. And Gija's like, unbelievable. He just wandered over and joined us. Yun's like, probably because he was starving. And Huck's like, hey, he signed on even faster than you did, White Snake. And you see Gija getting all mad, is like kind of jealous when Huck puts it that like that. And you see Zeno the Yellow Dragon. He's like, He's like, I'm Gija the White Dragon. The strength of a dragon dwells within my right arm. If you wish to protect Her Highness alongside us, show us your power. And you see Zeno going, power? It's like, that's right. It's like, power. He's like, oh, Zeno isn't very powerful, but he's really sturdy. And he just like, I thought that might be the case. And Huck walks up with a skewer in his mouth and just right slams him in the face and sends him flying backwards. And you see Zeno just be like, oh, as he's just all hurt and shaking and his nose is bleeding. And Huck's like, that hurt? And Zeno's like, you call that sturdy? You're just like some normal human. Are you really the Yellow Dragon? And Zero's like, there's something abnormal about him. No ordinary person is that strong. Jeha's like, true, I get punched a lot, but Hawk's punches are something special. And Yun's like, why does thinking about it make you happy, Jeha? And you see Yun going like prodding at Zeno as he goes, your flesh doesn't seem unusually hard, and your skin's awfully soft. And Zeno's like, Zeno's skin is silky smooth, admittedly a bit dirty. And he goes, now the Thunder Beast's built like a rock. It'd be easier to believe that he's the Yellow Dragon. And you see he's very muscular, and Huck's like, guess my secret's out. I'm actually the Yellow Dragon. And he just like, if you were a dragon, you'd be the evil Dark Dragon. Huck's like, Dark Dragon? Like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. You have Gija going, aren't you concerned? He's threatening your position. Have some pride as a dragon. And Zeno's just like, well, no. And Gija's like, maybe I haven't been training enough. Dragons must always try to increase and hone their powers. And Jeha goes, calm down. The Yellow Dragon has his own life. Gija goes, you have an unfortunate tendency to project your own values onto other people. But the 4 dragon warriors, brothers since ancient times, are finally together. We haven't been united in thousands of years, not since the age of myths. And now at last, our generation, and you see Gija thinking, even my father couldn't accomplish this. As he continues, has made it happen. This guy just, and he starts tearing up. He goes, I mean, being here with all of you, it's so... And Jeha's like, okay, we got it. You have the 4 legendary dragons have assembled. I feel like I should be amazed or overwhelmed, but it happens so suddenly that it's a bit of a letdown. And you see as Yona looking back at Zeno, he's kind of smiling fondly, watching all of them. And you see later that night, Yona's going around picking up bundles of sticks for the firewood. And you see, young lady! And you see Zeno just swinging on a branch as he flips and tries to do a twirl and land, and he smacks into the ground face first. And he goes, want some help with that? He's like, whoa, as he's trying to heft up the bundle. So this bundle is heavy. And Yona's like, Gija carries it easily with one arm. It's like the right one. It's like, really? Zeno's not up for that. But the white dragon's kind of cute. And Yona's like, true, that's true, he is. And Zeno's like, yeah, they're all pretty cute. And you are too. And Yona goes, you and the others said a lot of things, but I do believe you're the Yellow Dragon. I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something different about you. It's like being near a little sun. I've never met you before, but already being around you makes me cheerful. And she goes, I never properly introduced myself, so I'll do it now. My name is Yona. Zeno the Yellow Dragon, I'm glad you're with us. And you see as Yona's walking off, you see Zeno just walking away with a happy little bounce in his step as he looks up to the skies and goes, Oh heaven, thank you for this day. The moon is remarkably beautiful tonight. And you see darkness falls upon the great earth through the blood of dragons. A revival comes again. Just a quick look-see. And you see, bound by the covenant of old, when the four dragons assemble, the sword and shield that protect the monarch shall awaken, and the red dragon shall return at dawn. And you see him kind of just contemplating this as it goes sword and shield. And you see chapter 43 from here on. You see Ewan sitting outside next to the little campfire, still contemplating. As Yona comes up and goes, Good morning, Ewan. It's a little chilly this morning, isn't it? She crouches next to the fire. Is like, oh, are you cold too, Sinha? And you see Sinha also curled up next to the fire. And you see a kapow! As Zeno just comes rocketing in and headbutts him, knocking him over. He's like, you get cold too easily, Blue Dragon. The best way to fight off the cold is a shoving match. First person to cry loses. He's a kapow! He comes over and knocks him with his shoulder over. And you see Sinha just kind of looking at where he fell over. He looks back and he looks over at his shoulder. And he starts rushing towards Zeno with his arm out. He's like, yes, you got the idea. It's like, eek! It's too early to be this energetic. And you see them rolling back and forth as they're tussling. And you see, kapow! As he goes and just slams his head right into Gija's head and sends it flying back. Gija's like, what's that for? It's like, it's a shoving match for warmth. The first person to cry loses. Gija's like, loses? It's like, I accept your challenge. It's like, hey, no fair using your right arm, White Dragon. And Jeha's like, young people have so much energy, Yona's like, oh, looks like fun. And Jeha tries to put on the moves as he goes, would you like me to teach you a grown-up way of getting warm? And Huck just comes and smacks him upside the head with a kapow. Like, you punched me for real, didn't you, Huck? He's like, eek, stop, White Dragon! And you see Yon screaming, quiet down, you weird beast! And you see, what a scary lad. It's like, your attention, please. As Huck goes, he's got the biggest voice of our group. He's a self-proclaimed genius pretty boy. Don't forget that if you want to keep eating well. And Yun goes, alright, we've accomplished our first goal. The four dragon warriors have been assembled. And you see, yay, and a clap, 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 clap. It's like, that said, there's something that concerns me. Excuse me. It's like Iksu's prophecy. Huck's like, there was a prophecy? And Yun's like, yes, there was. He repeats the one from last night, which is, darkness falls upon the great earth through the blood of dragons. A revival comes again, bound by the covenant of old. When the four dragons assemble, the sword and shield that protect the monarch shall awaken, and the red dragon shall return at dawn. And he goes, according to the prophecy, once the four dragons are assembled, the sword and shield that protect the monarch will awaken. We can assume that the monarch in question is Yona. And Yona's like, me? And he goes, I thought something would happen once the dragons were together, but nothing seems to have changed, except things got noisier. So does that mean we should search for the sword and shield that Yona's meant to use? On the other hand, if the monarch is Suwon, the current king, that changes what we should do. Gija goes, he's nothing but a traitor who stole the crown and ousted her highness from the palace. He's not the rightful king. Even if he is the monarch from the prophecy, if he's using his sword and shield, meaning using military expansion to rule the nation, then we dragons will fight to right that wrong. Anyway, and Yun goes, anyway, right now we don't have any clues, and we don't know where to go. And Gija's like, I would agree, so what should we do? And Yun goes, let's pay Iksu a visit and see what he can tell us. Or see what else he can tell us. And Huck's like, you must be pretty worried about that happy-go-lucky priest. Yun's like, that's not why. And you see, and so the group headed into the valley in the northern mountains of the Land of Wind. And you see, we're here. And you see the little waterfall stream. Like, it's only been 3 months, but it feels like I haven't been here in years. You talk like we're just going to swing by to pick up something you'd forgotten. I thought it'd be a shorter trip. Yun's like, we're traveling in secret, so we took the long way. And you see him coming back to the little hut, and he's like, Iksu, I'm back. Ooh, and you see that it's in complete disarray. His house is in shambles, and everything's been smashed apart. And Yun's like, what happened? Oh no. It's like, Yun. Oh, and you see Iksu lying off to the side, like battered and bruised looking. He's like, Iksu, who did this? Was it bandits? He's like, huh? It's like, Yun? It's like, I'm here. He's like, hold on, I'll bandage you up. Oh my god. Iksu's like, I was so hungry that I tripped and fell. And you see him going, oh wow, that was a close brush with death. And Yun stomps up like, that's the least of it. What did you do? The house is a disaster and you managed to injure yourself when you collapsed from hunger? You're such a pain and helpless without me. Are you trying to die and ascend to heaven? And Iksu's like, this is so nice. I've missed you yelling at me. Thank the heavens. And you see Sinha helping up Yona as they start cleaning up the place. And Jaeha's like, Yun was so worried that he cried. It was adorable. So I wasn't worried or crying. And you see Gija bowing, going, please forgive our unannounced visit, Lord Priest. It's an honor to meet you. And he bows back and goes, the pleasure is all mine. He looks up for the first time and goes, oh, your group has certainly grown. He goes, and you, princess, have clearly experienced much since I saw you last. And Yun goes, Iksu, the 4 dragons are assembled. What are the sword and shield that protect the monarch? And is Yona the monarch, or is it Suwon who's on the throne now? And Iksu's silent for a moment as he looks down contemplatively. And he goes, it would seem that it will be a little while yet before the sword and shield appear. When that moment comes, I'm sure you'll know them for what they are. Yun's like, well, if now's not the time, what should we do until then? If we're not supposed to go looking for the sword and shield. Gija goes, I feel like we dragons should work on becoming stronger. And Huck's like, want to go a few rounds with me then? And Jaeha's like, I can't guarantee your safety. It's like, oh? And I was like, say, why are you all avoiding the real question at hand? And Xena goes, young lady, what do you want to do now that you've gathered the 4 dragons? And Yona's like, huh? And Xena goes, you and that fellow were driven from the palace. You needed help to survive. That's all well and good. But what will you do from here on out? Will you keep running? And Yona's like, no. It's like, no? So then, do you intend to defeat Suwon, who robbed you of your rightful place? Do you wish to reclaim Hiryu Palace and take the throne? And you can see Yona's taken aback by how direct he's being. As Yun goes, that's impossible. Even with the 4 dragons, we're just a few people. There's no way we could take the palace. And he goes, it doesn't matter if she can. What matters is whether she has the intent, and if the true might of the 4 dragon warriors were unleashed, taking down a palace would be far from impossible. And you can see them all just looking at him surprised as Zeno kind of gets out of serious mode and goes, but Zeno doesn't have that kind of power. They all slump as Gija's like, you're so... He's like, apologies, Zeno's new to all this. That wasn't advice for what you should do. It was a simple question about your intentions, that's all. Zeno chose to follow you of his own volition. You need to choose what path you want to take, young lady. You have, anyways, anyone else hungry? You never stop moving, do you? Yon's like, good call, let's have lunch. It's like, yay, food! And you can see Huck staring at Yona, who's looking thoughtful. As they go, you see outside they're having a conversation as you have. I admit Zeno caught me by surprise. I took him for a foolish boy. I didn't think he'd lay into Yona like that. He just like, same. I can't tell how his mind works. I suppose I hadn't given it much thought, but it hasn't been long at all since Her Highness lost her father. She's only just reaching the point of being able to defend herself. Excuse me. How can she handle such a deep question so soon? And Jeha goes, there's more to this than avenging her father. To Yona, Suwon is a traitor, but the rest of the nation might see things differently. Reclaiming the crown would mean silencing the 5 tribes that serve him and taking charge of the entire country. Yona's only 16. It's too much to ask of her. You have Gija going, Huck, do you know the king? What's he like? Huck's like, couldn't say, as he turns and walks away. As Gija goes, he never talks about Suwon. Have you noticed that whenever his name comes up, Huck's expression turns grim? Does that mean Huck hates him? And Jeha's like, no. I'd say it means he has deeply conflicted feelings about Suwon. You see Yona just kind of staring at the night sky, sitting by the river or the waterfall. As you see, pleasant night, And you see Iksu coming up behind her, take a seat. He's like, Iksu. It's like, there we go, as he takes a seat. And he goes, are you thinking about earlier? From the look on your face, I'd say you know what to do. And Yona goes, when I spoke to an outside citizen for the first time, I was carrying a weapon, something my father had always forbidden me to use. I was a wreck. I'd been walking for what felt like forever. What I heard from that person was resentment toward my late father and over the way things had been under his rule. Hearing that was hard for me. My father valued peace above all else, but his country wasn't happy with him. The more I learned, the more frustrated I got, and I wasn't able to change anything or help anyone. But when I was desperate and reached for help, someone reached back to me. And when I wasn't strong enough to stand alone, I had someone to lift me up. I've met so many people in our country who I want to protect. I have no regrets about taking down Kumji, who ruled Awa. And Iksu goes, Your Highness, ever since that battle I've been thinking. Oh no, that's Yona going, ever since that battle I've been thinking. Koka is full of villages like Awa. And she goes, Father, please forgive me. And she goes, so what I'm going to do now is stand up tall and look at our kingdom. I'm going to find people who are struggling and burdened, and I'm going to save them. As she goes, I'm going to take up arms to protect your country. And she goes, and that's not something I can do from within the walls of a palace. And she goes, I'm not going back there right now. There's something I have to do, because there's still something I must do. And she goes, Iksu, looking at you makes me think about all this, so I'll tell you. I ran into Suwon in Awa. I thought I hated him, that I could never forgive him, but I couldn't draw my sword. Even though it seems foolish and beyond comprehension, there are some emotions that can never be set aside. You can't seem to forgive yourself nor to control your heart. The way your heart races might even fill you with despair. Remember what the Crimson Dragon once said. I too am human now. Even if humans hate or betray me, I can't help but love them. I think that is what I love about people. And you see Huck just watching this conversation from behind a tree. He's contemplating his own feelings. You have chapter 44, People's Expectations. You see 2.5 months have passed since the new king was crowned. And you see Lord Gunte. Yeah, this is Chishin Palace, the heart of the capital city of Chishin. General Yi Gunte, Lord of the Palace, is in low spirits. You have Lord Yi Gunte. It's like, what? Why are you pestering me? And you have, this is unbecoming. A general of all people should not be lounging around in those clothes. And Yi's just like, I'm the same person however I dress. I'm not bothering anyone. And the little manservant goes, you dress properly when you went to Hiryu Palace. It's like, you don't force me to wear those clothes. And you see Chul Rang, Lord Gunte's attendant, and Yuna was Gunte's wife. And Gunte goes, we want to make sure, oh no, that's Chul Rang goes, we want to make sure you look like a proper general. What about the Wind Tribe? Look at Huck and that youngster, or look at the Huck and that youngster. They just wear any old thing and they don't have anything remotely like a palace. What they do has nothing to do with us. And you see Gunte going, ugh, things are so dull around here lately. Merchants and visitors from other nations used to come to the Earth Tribe often, but it's been ages. Plus, our mineral resources are dwindling, welding. Things were better when Junam was king. The capital was full of people, and whenever anyone attacked us, I'd raise Koka's flag and fight them off with the strength of a god. Like this, as he takes a little, what looks like a ping pong bat. He's just waving it around. Oh, that's, fan. Oh, see, it's a wind fan he's using to fan himself. And Chilrang goes, well, King Il forbade war, so what can you do? And for all your strength of a god talk, a young man called the Thunder Beast defeated you in a competition. So Gunte just grabs Chilrang around the throat and starts doing the thing with the little head rub as he goes, what a lovely thing to say, Chul. Of course I'm weaker than I was. There's been no way to hone my strength. Or he's giving him a noogie. And he's like, sorry, I spoke too freely. And he's like, talk, 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 talk. Lord Gunte, Lord Yi Gunte. He's like, what is it this time? Are you going to demand I get a proper shave? And you see, His Majesty, King Suwon has come to see you. And you see Suwon beaming beatifically as Gunte is just outside, watching, wondering what's happening. He's like, it's really him. Chul's like, I told you, this is a disaster, hurry and change. He's like, why'd he come to see me all of a sudden? He didn't even send word. And look, he bought so few people. Is this some kind of joke? He's like, I don't know. He's like, please change. And you see him putting his hands together as he bows. And he goes, we last saw each other at my coronation, didn't we, General Gunte? You've been well? And he's like, I have. He looks up and goes, Suwon. He became king 2.5 months ago at only 18 years old. There are unanswered questions concerning the death of King Il and the disappearance of Princess Yona and General Huck. But Suwon is the legitimate heir of Lord Yu Han, a man I held in the highest esteem. And he continues, Suwon continues, General Gunte, I must ask you for a favor. He's like, a favor? Why is he coming to see me in person? And Chul's like, he's asking a favor of a general. What can it be but a secret mission? Please change your clothes. And Suwon's like, I'm quite thirsty after my long journey. Could I get a cup of tea? I see, wow, this tea has an exquisite fragrance. Gunte goes, it was picked from my wife's prized tea garden. The smell's too strong for me, so I don't care much for it. My wife's hobby is making teas. That's one of her own blends. I'm sorry if it tastes strange. And Suwon's like, it has a floral smell. It's like, really? I quite like it. Don't you, General Judo? And Judo's like, I don't have a preference when it comes to tea, but it's a Gunte. This is sort of the king. How dare you serve in one of your wife's failures? And you see the Lord going, sort of is also, or not the Lord, the author's note going, sort of is also rude. As he's like, huh? It's like, who said it was a failure? Uptight as always, aren't you? You could plant a field in that furrow on your brow. That's why you don't have a woman who'll serve you tea. And you see him just getting angry as you see age 34 and single. And Judo just crushes his teacups like, you bastard! He's like, oh, you want to fight? He's like, hey, Chul, fetch my sword. He's like, you're just itching to fight, aren't you? You see Suwon putting down his empty teacup as he goes, General Gunte. He's like, what is it? And you see Suwon looking all serious for a second, and he's taken aback. And he smiles again and goes, that was delicious. I'd love to see that tea garden later. And you have Judo going, that mellow attitude is why people don't take you seriously. You need to have the dignity and awareness of a king. And he's like, okay, sorry. As he Gunte side-eyeing him. As he goes, this is Lord Yuhan's heir? He seems carefree and unreliable. I see no resemblance at all to the man I admired so. If anything, this boy's more like King Il. Lord Yuhan was the ultimate warrior. He's the only one I could truly recognize as my king. I had high hopes since Suwon shares Lord Yuhan's blood. But is he really up to the task? And you have, this is Ryuho Hall. The spirits of the Earth Tribe's former chiefs are enshrined inside. I've been to the city of Fuga and Saika Palace many times, but this is my first time visiting Chishin Palace. It's quite interesting. It's like, well, things are falling apart here and there. We hope to repair them sometime. There isn't anything that needs immediate attention. And Chul goes, I heard that the reason the palace is in such shambles is all the trouble you caused when you were younger. And you have another older gentleman coming up and going, Lord Gunte. He's like, was it old Hide? And Hide goes, there's been another cave-in at the Udo mines. He's like, what? How many injured? He's like, several dozen young men were caught in it. So that place is pretty dangerous. Were you able to clear it out? It's like, Jesty. He's like, Your Majesty. And you see Suwan was trying to concentrate on the conversation as Chul interrupts him. He's like, yes? So what brings you to Chi Shin? You came here personally, so it must be something vitally important. And he goes, you must need to speak with our general. And he goes, no, I'm just sightseeing. He's like, sightseeing? Like, the kingdom of Koka is in turmoil, and our new king is going sightseeing? Parts of our tribe's territory are unstable. Awa is especially suspect. And you see Gunde just coming up and bonking him on the head. He goes, hey, shut your mouth. Don't talk to him like you talk to me. And Suwon goes, with respect to Awa, Lord Yankumji was found to be involved in human trafficking. He has since gone missing. And he's like, what? So he showed his true colors? His Majesty personally punished him? And Suwon's like, no, of course not. No, I didn't do anything. Gunte's like, it's like, I'm told it was the work of some local pirates. See Gunte kind of slumping in disappointment. As he goes, pirates? I gather they became pirates in order to put a stop to the trafficking. Please don't be too mad at them. And Joel's like, but pirates are pirates. They might take this opportunity to seize control over the seas. And Suwon's like, it'll all be fine. Gunte goes, Your Majesty, what is your opinion of your predecessor, King Il? Suwon's taken aback by his question. As he goes, this might be disrespectful, but I had many concerns about him. He avoided battle and ceded land. The nation's might was declining. It was all well and good for him to say it was for the people, but did his actions truly benefit anyone? From the south, the Xing and the Sei laughed at us, and were always afraid that the Kai Empire might attack us at any time. If we'd had to endure more humiliation, and if Koka had been endangered any further, it's not impossible that I might have risen up against him. And Chul's freaking out like, Lord Gunte! And Trudeau's like, Gunte! So, oops, I misspoke. So I might have started a rebellion, as he just grins. Trudeau's like, this man. Chul's like, that's terrible too. You should be the one to shut your mouth. What are you saying? Don't misunderstand, Your Majesty. Our tribe would never do such a thing. And you can see Gunte going, here's what I'm getting at. How are you any different from King Il? Here you are jaunting around and you avoided dealing with the pirates. Will that really benefit the kingdom? At your coronation, you said you'd return our country to its former glory and strength, as it was during the reign of earlier kings. Do you swear that you are speaking the truth? And they have just a little stare off. And he goes, yes. I was telling the truth. And he just, again, kind of smiles beatifically. And Gunte just like, huh? And he's just like, not exactly confidence inspiring. He said he was telling the truth, so why am I so disappointed? And you see him off to the side looking at a stone as he goes, my, what's this stone? Gunte's like, now he's ignoring me. Like, who cares about a stone? Honestly, can't you be serious for once? And Suwon's like, but look, General Judo, this stone has been enshrined here. Gunte's like, it's no good. He's a disaster. He's nothing at all like Lord Yuhan. He's obviously incapable of rebuilding this nation. And Gunte goes, that stone was bought here from the Udo mines. And Suwon's like, the mines? He goes, the Earth Tribe has always relied on mineral resources to make our living. It's our custom to enshrine a stone from the mines to bring us fortune and good luck. And he's like, oh? When I look closely, I can see flecks of blue and purple. Beautiful. I suppose it's quite valuable? And Gunte's like, no, the stone itself won't fetch any money. The only thing people want is iron ore. You see Suwon's like, as he's contemplating this. He's like, if you'll excuse me, Your Majesty, I'm quite busy, so I have to return to my rooms. If you need me, please send word via anyone in the palace. And you see the author's note saying, bored out of his mind. As Judo was like, Gunte, how dare you? And Suwon's like, of course we'll speak again, General Gunte. Troll's like, busy? With what? He's like, Your Majesty, about that revolt Lord Gunte mentioned. He was, speaking carelessly. He sometimes tells tall tales even if it might cause trouble. He wasn't serious. Suwon's like, not to worry, I won't hold it against him. Troll's like, oh, as he says, sort of sigh of relief. And he goes, I'm very sorry. My lord's mood hasn't been the best. He was known as a valiant general when he served under King Junam. He always saw the battlefield as his life. It frustrates him that he's no longer in a position to use his strength to protect Koka. He dresses sloppily and he might come across as arrogant, but you'll come to understand him if you watch how he behaves. None of our people fear him. Social status is no barrier to speaking freely to him. Our Chief General Gunte has a nature that makes that possible. And you see Suwon kind of smiling as he goes, he reminds me of some people I love, as he thinks back to Huck and the rest of the Wind Tribe. And he goes, you must love him dearly. Trill's like, huh? It's like, you're wearing your hair the way he does, that high ponytail. And he's blushing. He's like, it's like, I've seen that ponytail worn by countless members of the Earth Tribe. And you have, well, on the battlefield, he's so brave and dashing. Everyone looks up to him. We all want to be like him, even if only a little. It's like, if I may say so, there was a lot of competition to become his attendant, but I got the position. And Suwon's just kind of smiling happily and nodding. It's like, oh, please don't tell him what I said. He used to make fun of me and get carried away. And Judo's just getting mad, and he's like, what's so great about him? It's incomprehensible. Suwon's like, now. If that's all true, I'd love to see your dashing general in action. I'm sure everyone would love to see General Gunte's heroics. Troll's like, that's true, but it's not as if there are any battles. Suwon's like, I see. In that case, you see Gunte, just lying on his side, sleepily dozing off, as Troll comes running and goes, General Gunte, General. He's like, what the hell do you want now? What a racket. He goes, it's about His Majesty. He's like, I don't want to deal with that rich boy anymore. He's like, that's not it. King Suwon is planning a battle. You see running in like a little kid going, King Suwon. And then Judo's like, shut up, once is more than enough. And he says, all excited, as Gunte's like, have you finally decided to declare war? Against whom? The Shing? The Sei? Are you battling the Kai to take back the land they stole? It's like, no, I understand. You need soldiers and weapons first. And Suwon's like, General Gunte, it's a battle, but a play battle. And he seems like, huh? So you're itching for combat and everyone wants to see your heroism. So I thought we might hold a festival in the capital city of Qixin. And he's like, you mean a mock battle to train the soldiers? Like something more casual. We can't have anyone die in a festival, so we won't be using real blades. And you see Judo has to stop him as he's lurching. Gunte's lurching forward to try to strangle Suwon. He's like, what are you doing, Judo? I'd like to call you a mindless flunky, but I suppose I'll have to thank you. My hands were reaching out to clobber him. Thanks for stopping me. And Judo's like, I'd ask what you think you're doing to His Majesty, but I understand how you feel. If you didn't do it, I would have. Judo turns around and goes, Your Majesty, I told you don't have time to play games. And Suwon's like, you should have some fun once in a while, General Judo. Excuse me. It might remove some of the wrinkles from your brow. And he goes, we'll need to make preparations. Shall we hold the event in a week? And Gunte is like, Your Majesty, the Earth Tribe doesn't have time to play games with you. Go back to Hiryu Palace. Joe's like, what? You're not going to do it? We're secretly looking forward to it. Word has already spread. Hopefully you cannot hear my dogs barking from downstairs on that. And Gunte's like, why do you suddenly feel like playing around? And you see Suwon going, that's not what they want at all. It's like, huh? Suwon goes, General Gunte, you have no idea how endearing you are. He's like, oh, later on, I'd like to visit the people who were injured in the mines. He's like, I'll take you there. And Gunte's just like, I don't understand. Not only is he not at all like Lord Yuhan, but he might be even worse than King Il. What will become of this country? And you see him just be like, this tea is wonderful. He's just sipping on it. And you see a boom, boom, boom as someone's beating on a drum. And you see, hey, are you going to the festival at Chishin Palace? You bet. They're letting the public go in and look around. I heard Lord Guntei is going to participate in a mock battle in the sporting grounds. He's like, he is? That'd be a sight. And you see the drums again beating as we get to chapter 45, War Games. And you see Fui as someone plays the flute. And you see these performers in these robes and masks dancing around. As you have, look at that, General Guntei. It's like, Your Majesty. He's like, what a fascinating style of dance. It's like, Your Majesty. As you see Guntei all dressed up, going, I thought I was participating in the mock battle. Why am I decked out like this? And it goes, why? For the festival. You're the star attraction. You ought to look the part. I put my hair in a ponytail like yours, see? He's like, I see that. You're wearing ridiculous clothes, too. He's like, aren't these stones exquisite? And these clothes look like they're from another land. It's like, I know it's a festival, but we're having a mock battle. These clothes aren't remotely appropriate for combat. Especially these stones. They're in the way. And they're heavy. I'm taking them off. He's like, clanking to Lord Guntei. He's like, you know. As you see his wife coming in, and she looks extremely, extremely young. Like, weirdly young. As she comes up, she's like, just look at you. You're so cute. It's like, cute is an accomplishment for me. It doesn't make me happy. It's like, I chose your outfit. It's like, you did this. And he grabs her and starts giving her a noogie. He's like, Your Majesty, this is my wife. He's like, hello again. It's like, of course, you're cute too, Your Majesty. Guntei's like, how do you two know each other? And she goes, His Majesty enjoys my tea, so he came and introduced himself. Now we take tea together, right? It's like, yay, yay. Guntei's like, when I wasn't paying attention, my own wife. Troll's like, that's what happens when you ignore the king for a week. And Yuna goes, I'm so excited for today's events. Don't even think about changing into something else. I'll be watching from the stands. And he's like, fine, don't nag. And you see Suwon just smiling as he goes, I see you have a soft spot for your wife, O valiant general. Guntei's like, ultimately, this is just a game. I'm caring less about it by the minute. And Suwon goes, but take a look, General. People have gathered from all over Chishin to see you in action. You see him looking outside as this massive crowd's gathered. And he goes, the sound of festival music. As their tribe chief, you must respond to their wishes. And he goes, the voice of my tribe, a dark shadow creeping over this nation. People have forgotten war. Treat war as a game. We don't have time for this. And he goes, allow me to review the rules one final time. This match is between a red army and a white army, each 18 members strong. The goal is to smash your opponent's dishes using wooden swords. General Guntei is king of the red army and I am king of the white army. The other combatants will be divided into the two classes, nobles and commoners. And you see at a gasp, General Judo's already wearing his dish. It's like each army has 5 noblemen and 12 commoners. A commoner's dish is worth 1 point, a nobleman's is worth 5, and a king's is worth 10. The game lasts until all the dishes are smashed. The army with the most point wins. Remember to pay close attention to your class. And you see the little diagram, or the little thing they're wearing. Basically you're wearing what looks like the sake cups on top of the head. And then you have to basically go use the wooden swords to smash those on there. You see, those of the same class fight as equals. A king can smash a nobleman's dish, but not a commoner's. You see, a king can't turn his sword against his people. Noblemen cannot defy the king. And it's not impossible for the people to take down a king. You see, a nobleman can smash a commoner's dish, but not the king's. And commoners can smash a king's dish, but not a nobleman's. And so when someone's dish is smashed, they become their enemy's prisoner. But if an ally gives them a spare dish, that puts the prisoner back in play. And you see, anyone who deliberately smashes the dish of someone whose rank precludes that, or strikes someone with their sword anywhere but on the dish, will be disqualified. Let's not have any injuries today. And you see as they're getting ready, Gunte remarks to Judo, there's just no gusto about him. He's like, I agree. Gunte's like, oh, we share an opinion? That's rare. And he calls this a match, but does His Majesty know anything about combat? His Majesty's childhood friend, the Thunder Beast, was a genius. Warriors sharpen their skills through battle experience, but he had the power of 1,000 men without ever setting foot on a battlefield. No one speaks of His Majesty's skill, though, or his lack of it. And you see, all I know from looking is that he's pale and scrawny. If the Thunder Beast is a tiger, His Majesty must be a rabbit. And Judo's like, why would anyone share an opinion with you? He's like, what's gotten under your skin? You're always so angry. And you have Judo going, his natural talent really so amazing? Your eyes were distracted by the tiger and his power to rend the earth, but you're oblivious to the true nature of the man you dismiss as a rabbit. You and all your adoring tribesfolk can't see what's in front of you. As you couldn't taken aback by this, you see the drums going with the bomb, bomb. They start beating. And you see Lord Gunte. He's like, yeah, Lord Gunte. And you see Chill going, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. The red and white dish-smashing battle is about to begin. I am Chul Rang, Lord Gunte's attendant, and I'll be commentating today. It's like, is that the best name they could come up with? It's like, the event organizer named it. I had no say. See, the event organizer is Suwon. And you see Yuna, Gunte's wife, just handing out tea to the common folk. You see both the armies lined up. And you see at the east gate, burning flames are the color of justice. Our hero Lord Gunte leads the red army. At the west gate, a glorious servant of heaven has descended to walk among us. Suwon of the Sky Tribe leads the white army. And then the crowd stops and they're like, huh? His Majesty, is it really him? No way, truly? Where? Really? That's him? It's like the public was not informed. It's like, is it alright that I told them who you are? Don't blame me if someone tries to assassinate you. He's yeah. And you see Gunte just looking all sullen. And Judo just looking all angry. He's like, what's Judo's problem? He's the one who's always insulting people. The more I look at the king, the more he resembles a rabbit. Or maybe a squirrel. So either way, a tiger will eat him alive in battle. Fine, show me what you've got. And you see, begin. It's like, whoa, a bold first move by the white army. King Suwon is positioned front and center. Gunte's like, well. It's like, that's our Lord Gunte. He's responding in kind. How manly. Lord Gunte's center too, with noblemen and commoners guarding the rear. He goes, now, follow me. And you see Chul going, the Red Army's battle cry is filling the air. It's like we're seeing our general as he was when King Junam reigned. Without even making a move, he has the crowd going wild. He's going to face King Suwon head on. The next one you see Suwon going, ah! And he just runs back through his forces to the back. Gunte's like, what the? It's like a shocking development. King Suwon is running away. Lord Gunte nobly stood ready to accept the challenge, but the king is putting distance between them. As he's running away, what a coward. And you see, and now in an attempt to catch Lord Gunte off guard, the white army's commoners are attacking him. And you see, our lord is in danger. And you have Lord Gunte. It's like, my lord. I'm like, huh? And you see the white army's commoners coming up going, please stand aside. We want the red army to take us prisoner. We're from the earth tribe. We're put in the white army to make the numbers even. Our hearts are with you. It's like, we pray for your victory. Long live Lord Gunte. He goes, he's getting madder hearing this. As he goes, I don't need your help, fools. Are you trying to disgrace me? Do you think I can't win without cheating? There's nothing I hate more than conceding a challenge. I'll never need that kind of devotion. Feed it to the dogs. You see them all just tearing up in awe of his little speech. And they just start kneeling and crying. He's like, stop crying. There are no words for how worthy of our admiration you are. It's like, we've been scolded by Lord Gunte. It's like, we acted foolishly. Forgive us. We've changed our minds. It's like, we'll do all we can to defeat you. And you see, as they're leaping towards them, Gunte's like, this is awkward. They're all commoners. And the rules remind us that a king can't turn his sword against his people. And you see a smash, smash, smash. As you see, a red army nobleman has eliminated 5 white army commoners in one blow. He's like, are you alright, Lord Gunday? He's like, yes. Those 5 commoners are now prisoners of the red army. And you see the nobleman like, oh, I'm like Lord Gunday's right hand man. And you see, shh. A Suwon subordinate comes in and smashes the cup off his head while he was gloating. And you have a white army nobleman stuck up from behind. Guntay's like, there you are. I've been waiting for a nobleman. And you see a smash, smash, smash as Guntay takes down 3 of the noblemen in one swipe. He's like, alright, if any other noblemen want to die, then step on up. He's like, yee, woo. And you see Lord Guntay's taking out 1 white army nobleman after another. Remember, if he kills any of them, he's out of the game. And you see Yuna just commissioning a drawing, and she's like, make sure you capture that expression. So that's unfair, lady. You know I want one too. And you see, let's see how things stand. 7 commoners and 4 noblemen of the white army have been taken prisoner. 3 commoners and 2 noblemen of the red army have been captured. That means the red army has the upper hand. And where is King Suwon, the white army's king? It's like, oh, there he is. He's being pursued by commoners. See a bunch of the red commoners going after him as Suwon is just kind of like, eek, and running away, pretending to be scared. And all the citizens are like, well, that's disappointing. What's the king doing? Is he a coward? And you see, meanwhile, General Guntay, the king of the Red Army, is charging his next opponent. And he goes, nobleman. He crosses blades with General Judo. It's like, wow, that's General Han Judo, a nobleman for the White Army. Sky and Earth generals are facing off. And he goes, hey, Judo, you're supposed to be a nobleman. Why are you pointing your sword at a king? He's like, I'm not. This is pure self-defense. Don't be cocky, you phony king. And you see a commoner trying to sneak up behind him to get it land a blow. And Judo just whips up behind him, smashes the cup off his head, and turns his sword back on Guntay, who is shocked at his speed and his ferocity, as he goes, nicely done, General Judo. You're usually armed with dual swords. If this were a real battle, you might have carved us both in half. This is getting interesting. I'll take you down myself. And Judo's like, you simpleton, and you call yourself a king? He's like, what? It's like, if this were a real battle, the way you're focusing on me would have kept you from noticing what else is happening. You would have looked like a total fool. And Guntay's like, what? And he looks back. He's like, oh, they scored for the other team. The Red Army smashed their own dishes. And you see King Suwon was surrounded, but he slipped and fell as he was being attacked. A Red Army combatant hit his own teammate instead. That's some remarkable luck for King Suwon. Guntay's like, luck? Yeah, if that means the white team gets the points. King Suwon is taking advantage of the confusion to head into the red team's territory. And you see, noblemen and commoners must protect their ground. What will they do? Guntay's like, not while I'm here. As he dashes back. It's like, wow, Lord Guntay's making a move. It's like, brace yourself, your majesty. It's like, King Suwon is in trouble now. And you see one of the red noblemen like pointing out a sword in front of him. And Suwon just smiles as he comes in for the blow and knocks the sword out of the guy's hands. And it sends flying with a spin with the thunk lands right in front of Guntay. He's like, wow, what a fluke. As King Suwon knocked the wooden sword away, it grazed Lord Guntay's head. Any closer and his dish would have been smashed, if not his skull. He's like, so sorry, General, are you alright? What was that? And you see Guntay going, he was looking at me. He was aiming for me. It's like, His Majesty must be a rabbit. It's like, no. Is he a rabbit? It's like, is this a bit more interesting for you? As we get into chapter 46, Paving the Way. And you see, wow, what a fluke. The wooden sword King Suwon knocked away, grazed Lord Guntay's head. That was a close call for the general. Guntay's like, fluke? No. He made sure this weapon would land in front of me. It's like, are those a rabbit's eyes? As he looks at him. You have the commoner whose sword was knocked away is rushing to fetch it. And you see Suwon just handing out some extra cups to all his prisoners. It's like, here you go, you're revived. It's like, meanwhile, King Suwon has freed 6 white army prisoners. The red army now has 27 points, and the white army has 15. The white army has more soldiers now, but if their dishes are smashed again, the red army gets even more points. Will having their soldiers freed spell fortune or doom for the White Army? And you see, will it be alright? It's only just started. There's no way Lord Kunte can lose. Kunte's like, I want to free our captured soldiers, but now that the White Army has increased its numbers, the defenses have gotten far stronger. The freed White Army soldiers have spread out in all directions and are challenging the Red Army. And you see, and King Suan just pulled off a magnificent prison break, but now he's being back to being chased by commoners. Kunte's like, what's going on here? That look in his eyes, did I misjudge him earlier? And he's saying, the whoosh. It's like a sudden gust of wind. Dust is filling the air. It's like my vision. It's like, It's like, whose soldier was that? A white shadow? It's like, Red Army! It's like, not good. They didn't spread out randomly. They broke into teams of 3, each combining noblemen and commoners. They're forcing the Red Army back. He goes, don't be separated. Stick close to your allies. It's like, regroup, gather up. It's like, I can't see a damn thing. The White Army's inside this dust cloud. How are they receiving orders? Who's capable of coordinating them this way? And you see a swish as he comes in to block one of the army two of the White Army come in to smash his dish. He blocks one with his arm, one with the sword. He goes, here for my head, are you? It's like, never, General. But the king said you respect brave men who challenge you. So we gave it a try. And Gunte's like, he knows how to manipulate my subordinates. He's like, oh? It's like, he did he? It's not very effective if you tell me, you idiot. He goes, you move smoothly in all this dust. His Majesty ordered us to stand upwind when the wind blew. And Gunte goes, so he's the one coming up with your tactics? It's like, he predicted the wind? And they're like, yes. It's like, I underestimated him. He's like, Nitish. And a gah! It's like, Lord Gunte fended off the commoners. He's heading for King Suan. With the dust settled, the Red Army's down by 5. Are we about to see a showdown between the kings? So you can do it, Lord Gunte. It's like, His Majesty isn't just running away. He's leading the Red Army to their doom. Most of the Earth Tribe members of the White Army weren't throwing themselves into this, but when he released them, suddenly they were roaring to go. He's manipulating them brilliantly. He made me think he was fleeing like a rabbit. What's his true nature? Comes roaring in to smash his sword against Suan, who blocks with both hands. It's like, whoa, General Gunte! It's like, that hurts. It's like, even as he says that, he's blocking every strike. It's like, Lord Gunte, leave His Majesty to us. Well, it's all of you, stay back. Focus on freeing our captive forces. It's like, yes, sir. He's like, oh? And you see a smash as they all get their plates smashed. And you see, oh no, that's 3 Red Army commoners defeated. That leaves only 4 members of the Red Army, including Lord Gunte. It's only a matter of time before... the remaining soldiers have been surrounded. It seems impossible, but of the Red Army, only Lord Gunte is still standing. Not even he can possibly win the day. Now then, you're the only one left. It's like, yeah. It's like, General Gunte. It's like, if this were a real battle, you'd be dead. What will you do? And as he's watching Suan, he goes, the rabbit who fled from me suddenly looks like a hawk relentlessly pursuing its prey. Does he seem intimidating because of the situation I'm in? This is just a game. But that doesn't matter. Something else is going on here. He goes, permit me to make a proposal. This may be a game, but defeat in front of your people would make you lose face as their chief. I'll give you a chance to revive your soldiers. Why don't I release my prisoners and you can challenge me once more? Gunte goes, I refuse. This is no longer a game. This is, and he goes, in a battle, the dead don't come back to life. I'd keep fighting against 1,000 enemies. As he goes, this is a test to see whether I can truly serve the man who rules my country. And he goes, how can I serve the country if I'm thinking about my reputation? And you see Suan smiling. He's like, he's fallen into his trap. As he goes, in that case, here I stand as your opponent. Gunte goes, throw everything you've got at me. They start exchanging blows. And he goes, wow, Lord Gunte was in serious trouble, but he's taking King Suan one-on-one. He's like, Lord Gunte, Lord Gunte. I see them as they're exchanging blows. He goes, whether this king is a true killer, or even against someone like me, he's keeping his head. But that's not enough to tell whether this king is a true killer. And you see him lashing out with the blow, and Suan's hand goes flying back with the sword. as Gunte slashes and goes, "I've got him." And you see Suwon suddenly looking ferocious as he brings the swords back in an arch to stop the blow with a lot of killing intent. And he stumbles, he accidentally trips on his robe and starts falling backwards. And Gunte just follows through and smashes the cup on his head. And they're all looking surprised as Trudella goes, "He did it! He won! He still hasn't won the game though. Lord Gunte is victorious! That's General, incredible as ever. He pulled it off." And Suwon's like, "Oh my, you're quite something, General Gunte. You defeated me." It's like, "What the hell was that?" It's like, "You really are strong." It's like, "Quit fooling around." It's like, "What? We're going again. On your feet." It's like, "What should we do?" It's like, "The game isn't over. Get out there." And you see, ultimately, General Gunte was surrounded by 12 people. His dish was smashed and the Red Army was obliterated. But before that, General Gunte went berserk and defeated 4 noblemen. Not Chudo, though. The upshot was that the Red Army had more points than the White Army. The day was theirs. The city of Chishin celebrated the miraculous victory all through the night. And you see, later that night, Suwon's like, "Wasn't that fun?" It's like, "It really was. After seeing that, I think I'll start studying martial arts." "That's wonderful." Gunte says, "No, it's not." And yeah, "What's the matter, General Gunte?" It's like, "Why are you angry?" So, "What was the point of your visit, Your Majesty? You came to Chishin Palace, meandered about, drank tea with my wife, made a big fuss of the festival. All you did was amuse yourself." He's like, "I do believe General Judo is rubbing off on you." It's like, "Don't compare me to him." And you see Gunte going, "I thought that I sensed something about this king. For a moment when we were fighting, I was entranced by the fire in his eyes. Was I imagining things?" And you see, "Lord Gunte, my lord." As Yuna comes up, it's like, "I have news. I have wonderful news." It's like, "What is it?" It's like, "A group of merchants from the Kai Empire are interested in buying my tea." And he's taken back, like, "Your tea? The smelly one?" It's like, "It's not smelly, it's floral." It's like, "How did this happen?" It's like, "Floral teas are very popular in the Kai Empire. My tea has excellent color and flavor, so it's sure to sell well." It's like, "What, really? They eat flowers in the Kai Empire? Those people make no sense." It's like, "But it's going to be tricky. My tea garden isn't big enough to supply the Kai Empire. It'll work out, expanded gradually." Suwon goes, "Don't sell too much for too little money. If you market it as an expensive specialty from Chishin, visitors will be drawn here. You'll make a good souvenir, just make sure to package it elegantly. People will fall all over themselves to own things that are difficult to acquire." So, "I'll do that, Your Majesty. This is so exciting. What if the Emperor orders some?" And yeah, that seems unlikely. "If Lord Gunte, you won't believe what's happening at the Udo mines. There's a gold Hide. It's like another cave in." It's like, "No, nothing like that. We don't have enough workers to meet demand." It's like, You're busy?" So, "Remember the stones you and His Majesty wore during that mock battle?" "Yeah, those jangly ones, that bluish purple color." "Well, since then we've had a flood of orders for those. Everyone at the mines is in a panic." He's like, "What? Those stones came from the mine? But they were so sparkly." "It's true, when we mine them they look quite ordinary. Everyone assumed they were worthless. But when expert polishes them, they look beautiful. More importantly, you wore them when we're victorious. They're victory stones now. Everyone wants them. Look, I've got some already." And you see, what does an old man need jewelry for? He's just showing off his shiny new bracelet. He's like, "I'm jealous. I want one." So I'm like some too, old Hide. So the point is, I desperately need more mine workers and more artisans. And you see Suwon going, "The tea was delicious. General Dudo, shall we continue our journey?" And he's like, "Yes." And you see Gunte kind of smiling and milling about with his people. He goes, "My Yuno, you're truly remarkable." It's like, "Why do you say that?" It's like, "Well, I wasn't looking. You negotiated with Kai merchants and discovered those jewels." It's like, No, I didn't do anything. But you recommended your tea to those merchants, right? And you chose what we wore for the mock battle?" And she's like, "I just served tea to some guests that His Majesty introduced me to during the match. And I did pick out your outfits, but His Majesty was the one who suggested you wear those stones." It's like, "Where is His Majesty?" I was like, "Huh? What? His Majesty's already left." "He left?" And Judo's like, honestly, you're really something. How much of that did you plan? Suwon's like, it's a waste, don't you think? To not know the impact you have on your people, and to go through life not showing how you feel. Like, the Earth Tribe baffles me. What's so great about that ill-tempered man? And Suwon's like, I quite like General Gunte, and I want him on my side. If we ever really had to go to war, the Earth Tribe soldiers would likely fight with more spirit than anyone else. They're a tremendous asset for Koka. And you see General Gunte go, and he seriously went home. That king likes to play dumb. He lost on purpose, no doubt about it. He got exactly what he was after. The mock battle, wandering on the tea garden in the mines, everything. And he just laughs as he goes, you may be young, but you're an interesting one. Thanks to you, Chishin will prosper, you idiot. Now, I didn't imagine that look in his eyes. He pretended to be soft, but there was real fire in his gaze. In a way, he's more intimidating than Lord Yuhan was. He seems quite promising. Can I expect great things from him? Who can say? But next time we meet, that will all become clear. And you see Yona's group, they're all sleeping as Huck is being observant. And you see someone's trying to pull a sword out of his belt with a swip, and he stops, grabs Yona's hand as he goes, and what might you be up to, princess? And she goes, good morning, Huck. And Huck goes, you want me to teach you swordsmanship? And she just nods. And he's like, don't just nod. You want someone to teach you something, maybe don't steal from them while they're asleep. And she's like, I was just going to borrow it for a bit. I don't want to wake you up. He's like, I'm not lending anything to a thief. I'm going to bed. He's like, wait, I was wrong, all right? I'll be serious about this. He's like, Huck, teach me to use a sword. I want to get stronger. I need to be powerful. And Huck looks back at her and goes, what about the bow I lent you? And she goes, I'll keep practicing archery just as hard, but I think I should learn how to use a sword just in case. Huck, please. And he's looking down at her in a determined face as he goes, I'm not going to do that. She's like, Huck, please, I really need to start learning. He goes, how about you take better care of your skin instead? It doesn't look good when you're all sunburned. You weren't exactly swimming in sex appeal to start with, and now you don't have any. And she's like, what? Like, if you start carrying a sword, you'll seriously never land a husband. He's like, work on your feminine graces. Like, hey, Huck, come back here. He's like, Huck, you dummy. And you see later, she's talking to Sinha. It's like, the sword? It's like, I want you to teach me swordsmanship. You're a swordsman, right? And you see Sinha just kind of glitters like, swordsman? Like, who taught you how to fight with one? And he goes, long ago, someone close to me. In real battles. He's like, real battles? With bandits and wild animals. And Yona's like, I'd like to learn the techniques you learned in those battles. Please, teach me. So he gives her the sword. She's holding it in both hands. She's like, it's heavy and long. Like, stop it, this is nothing. And you see her just trying to wave it around, off balance, trying to swing it. And she's like, yeah! And she rushes the sword to try and stab it into a tree. And her hand's kind of vibrating from the force of having trying to stick it through. He's like, to cut myself. It's like, right, there's no guard on the sword. It's like, Sinha's like, show me the proper stance. And you see Sinha, eyes just glowing. He's like, oh, blah, blah. And he grabs the sword away from her and sheathes it. He's like, Sinha? It's like, hey, Sinha, And he's just shaking his head. He's running with the sword. He's like, don't worry about my hand. It's a tiny cut. And you see him just dashing away. He's like, come back, Sinha. And she's chasing him. He's like, he got away. It's like, is there anyone else who could teach me? And she's looking at the others, and they're just like, nope. It's like, I can't ask Gija. He fights barehanded, not with a sword. And Zeno said he doesn't have any powers. He'd definitely object, even more than Huck. And you see Yona? It's like, Jiha. It's like, why are you so out of breath? And she sees, Huck, he's fishing for lunch. And so she goes over to Jehan and is like, come over here for a second. And she accidentally stumbles into him and falls on him. He's like, what is it? Are you interested in a tryst? I'm game. She's like, that's not what I'm after. He's like, don't tell Huck what I'm asking you. He's like, just listen. He's like, fine, I'll keep it a secret. He's like, do you have a sword or a knife? Something with a blade will do. He's like, a sword? He's like, I have plenty of concealed weapons. And he opens up his jacket and you see all his little throwing daggers and everything dispersed throughout. But he's like, but I don't have a long sword. No. I was like, why so many? Excuse me. And Yona's like, why? Do you need some? Or, sorry, Jeha goes, why? Do you need something hunted or someone assassinated? It's like, nothing like that. I want to learn swordsmanship. She's like, swordsmanship? He's like, huh? Huck refused to teach me, but I want to be able to use a sword. Will you teach me, please? It's like, Jeha. And Jeha's like, I see. No wonder you refused. And Yona's like, why? It's like, why? It's like, it's unfair to act like you don't understand, Yona. And she's like, even if you aren't very strong, I like how hard you try. I decided to come with you because I felt like you'd be safer if I was with you. Swords aren't like bows. They're used in close quarters and you're not strong enough to overpower a man. It's dangerous. It's like, I know, that's why I want to learn. And Jeha continues, if I were in Huck's place, I'd use myself as a shield so that no harm would ever come to you. But I'd want you to be someplace where you were safe and happy. Yona goes, that's not going to happen. He goes, I know, and in a way it'd mean holding you back. He's like, actually, he probably wants to keep you tucked away someplace safe. Tucked away someplace. If he could lock you away, no other men could see you. They couldn't see me? He's like, why? You've lost me. Jay's like, I'm saying Huck obviously wants to keep you all for himself. And you see Huck coming up from behind, just tying the fishing wire around his neck. He's like, don't just make things up, you droopy-eyed bastard. He's like, Huck, what are you two up to? He's like, a tryst? And Jay's like, Yona, if you say that, he's going to cut my head right off my shoulders. And Yona's like, well, I'll be off now. And she just dashes away. Huck's like, princess. Jay's like, this isn't like me. Lock you away? What a stupid cliche. I hate lines like that. So why did I see it? Or why did I say it? He goes, one of my short swords is missing. She got me. You see Yona just grabbed the sword, she ran away. She goes, will I be able to use a short sword like this? If no one will teach me, I'll have to teach myself. And you see later that evening as it's starting to rain, Huck goes, starting to rain. She get back to the house. As he's walking back, he observes Yona, eyes full of determination as she's swinging the sword around to get some practice. Now she swings it back, Huck blocks it with one of his own. And he goes, you're practicing sword play? He's like, Huck, so you're going to catch a cold. Let's go under that overhang. And you see them just covering over some rocks. As he goes, it's really coming down. Hope the river doesn't flood. It's are you cold, your highness? And you see her just kind of tucked in, just shivering. As he goes, I can see you shivering from here. That's what happens when you work up a sweat in the rain. It's like, where's your overcoat? It's like, I forgot to bring it. It's like, you ignored what I said. It's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to take off your wet clothes? Do you want me to? It's like, are you angry, Huck? It seems like it. So he takes off his own coat and puts it on her to keep her warm. As he goes, I'm not angry. It just scares me a little. And it's like, does it scare you because you think I'll be in more danger if I use a sword? But it's like, but it's the same for me when you're in danger. I get afraid too. So if I were in Huck's place, I'd use myself as a shield so that no harm would ever come to you. She goes, that's why I never ever want to use you as my shield. And Huck's like, did that droopy-eyed bastard say something to you? He's like, he said, you wanted to lock me away somewhere so that no other men could see me. And you see Huck just cracking his fist. He's like, I'm going to kill him. He's like, listen, just ignore him, okay? And Yona's like, but he's joking, right? It's like, I know, don't worry. I just know why he'd say you don't want other men to see me. And he's like, yeah, it's not true. It's like, in fact, it's the opposite. I want to show you off. I want to tell Grandpa Mundok and King Il and the scum who chased you from the palace and every last citizen of Koka, look here, this is Princess Yona. She hacked off her hair and took up a sword in the name of protecting this country. She's the strongest person I know. Feast your eyes on our princess. Something like that. And she's like, what? It's like, that's not like you. Why are you saying that? It's like, you're right. Forget I said anything. It's like, it's too late now. I'll never forget. It's like, I'm sorry, Huck. Once the rain lets up, I'm going to pick that sword right back up again. It's like, oh, the rain's stopping. He's like, princess? And he's here just leaning up against him and she's fallen asleep. So he puts an arm around her, plants a kiss on her forehead. So you have chapter 47 and... Alright, I guess some quick thoughts before I wrap this up. This video went a lot longer than I thought it would. But, alright. So, I guess I quickly got my kind of like wishes and desires, at least somewhat from the last chapter, answered a little bit, where I wanted to see Suwon get a little bit more development, with regards to his character and what his end goals are, what kind of drives him. So we got a little bit of some of the answers to that in this chapter, and I like how, we're kind of contrasting the differences between Yona, who was raised, in a sheltered environment and has very little like knowledge and understanding of things like politics, economics, things like that, or just in general how to rule an empire, how to be a leader, in contrast to Suwon, who's kind of built up everything in his entire life to get to this stage where he could show that he was a competent ruler, better suited to rule than King Il was. So it's an interesting contrast seeing the difference between those two and their situations, how they're kind of reacting to it. And it does bring up the interesting question again that they raised at the start of the volume in, what kind of, leader would Yona be? Like, what kind of leader is Suwon right now? And are they really going to take him over, and actually depose him because he killed King Il? And I think this volume kind of complicates those answers a little bit, because so far it seems like, Suwon has kind of the same mindset as Yona, where he's like, a king cannot be a distance from his subjects. He has to be aware of what their needs are and how best to address them so that they can prosper, under the leader's rule. So it's kind of interesting that they're both approaching with the same mindset. And I love how, this chapter kind of establishes that Suwon isn't really too obsessed with his image or what people think of him, as long as he's getting results, which is why he's kind of doing the whole, playing around to make people take him less seriously. And I like how he was thinking out of the box with regards to, what other resources do these regions have that I can kind of use to, I don't want to say exploit, but yeah, I think everyone knows what I'm saying. Like, which other resources can I use to benefit them so they're not reliant on only one source of income? So I like how it showed how he's thinking outside the box. He's doing kind of like these subtle machinations to kind of, show off these resources and kind of inspire the crowds and, mess with the generals and kind of inspire their own confidence. So I loved all those aspects of the story. I'm interested to see where we get with that, what kind of answers we'll get for those. Like the characters themselves said, the Yellow Dragon meeting was kind of lackluster. But I also got like elements of almost, again, with Suwon, like the way he kind of acts and interacts with people. I kind of got those same elements where it seems like the Yellow Dragon is putting on a facade to kind of mask his true personality. So I'm interested in seeing what we're going to find out about him and his backstory when we eventually get to it. But right now he's an interesting character. I wouldn't say he's like I'm not like too deeply invested in finding out about him currently, but I'm sure it will be well done when we get to that point. My brain's running tired. I'm recording so long. But other than that, I've really enjoyed the last few volumes. Can't wait to dive further into the series. I don't know right now when to expect the next volume read-throughs for Yona. Right now, I'd probably tentatively say expect another video mid-November, mid to late November, probably. So probably try to do the same thing next time as well, as do 2 volumes at once to catch up on it. In the meantime, I'll still kind of go over the other series and go through those as well. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed the Yona Of The Dawn read-through video. As always, if you like my videos, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate all your love and support. Till next time, this is Ash. Talk to you all later.